Hello guys, I'm Adrian Clarke. Welcome to the breakdown. Today we're going to be analysing Arsenal's 4-1 spanking of Tottenham Hotspur. An absolute treat for all Gooners out there, I'm sure. And what a performance, what a win. I think one of the most pleasing aspects, if you can sort of put to one side the fact that there was great pressure on the team and there had been a really, really bad display against Wolverhampton Wanderers previously. What I loved about this was the way that Arsenal put their foot down. 2-1 up, they went for the jugular. They carried on playing the football, carried on being brave and vertical and very, very attack-minded. And there was no question that they were going to sit back and absorb any kind of pressure from Tottenham Hotspur. Look, I think Igor Tudor's tactics were definitely helpful from an Arsenal perspective. We'll get to that shortly. There'll be more on that. But the attitude of Arsenal's players, the quality of the football, I just think we're levels above really anything that Spurs were capable of. Any injury hit Spurs, yes, but even so, this was men against boys, particularly in the second half. 6 big chances for Arsenal in this match, none for Tottenham Hotspur. 20 shots to nil over the piece as well. And if you can even park the football side of it in terms of the quality of the pass and move play, and the football intelligence and the tactical superiority, park all that. Arsenal also outworked and outmuscled Spurs in this game. You know, not just by a little bit, by a lot as well. We ran, believe it or not, 7.67 kilometres further than Spurs. This is a Spurs team playing for a new manager, of course. In terms of the duels and the success in those duels, Arsenal won 59.2% of them. High, won 62.5% of the aerial duels as well. So in those 50-50s, that battleground that makes such a difference in every single football match, really, Arsenal were much stronger, more powerful, and better than Spurs. And look, a lot was made ahead of kickoff, and you know, I talked about it in a couple of things that I wrote and talked about ahead of the game. Igor Tudor's sort of one of his big sort of tactical traits is the pressing. It's man-to-man. It's hostile. And we saw it right away. We saw it inside the first minute. But when you break down the numbers in terms of winning the ball back inside the final third, Spurs did it 3 times. Yes, they did it for the goal. We'll get to that a little bit later. 3 times they won it in the final third. Arsenal won it in the final third 19 times. We can see what that looks like actually here on our defensive chalkboard. There you go. Look at that. So many down the middle as well, which I think is really, really impressive. Obviously, down both flanks, winning the ball high up the pitch. But in those central areas, you know, you got Trossard, you got Eza, you got Gyokeres turning the ball over, and that it makes such a difference, doesn't it? And in this match, it really made a difference, particularly in that second half, because goals 3 and 4, as beautiful as they were in terms of the finishes, they came from turnovers high up the pitch. I mean, the third goal, the second one for Eza, is all about Eza, isn't it? Because he goes and wins the ball and then plays in Saka and carries on his run and gets his rewards for it. Let's remind ourselves of what happened actually in terms of that turnover here. There you can see the Spurs just sort of, it's a poor header from Dragusin, and Eza gets in front of the midfielder there, steals it, plays it into Gyokeres. Lovely little set from Victor Gyokeres, and then Eza plays in Saka, and of course, you know, from his shot was sort of blocked. It came out, and Eza tapped it in. While we're on the subject, here's goal number 4, the origin of goal number 4. It's Jed Spence on the right side, and it's Hincapié and Martinelli. This is in the 95th minute, look. And, you know, they've tag teamed. They've really pressured him. We win the ball. It comes to Madueke, into Odegaard, into Gyokeres, and of course he holds off his man and scores the goal. So yeah, I think aggression also played a big part in this game. Spurs tried to bring it, but we brought it better than them. We brought it with more intelligence than Tottenham Hotspur, and I think we showed that, you know, how much of a better team we are than them. It's very much a work in progress for that lot up the road. Right, the key tactical sort of theme of the game for me was Igor Tudor's tactics, the sort of high line, the man-to-man marking, and how we brutally exposed it. It was magnificent, actually. We made a few tweaks. We pulled Spurs apart. That back three, that back five, we pulled them apart for fun. And it was great to watch. I'm sure you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy showing you one or two sort of freeze frames from the game as well. So let's start with this one first up. And this is where we play through their press to get the ball to Hincapié. And there you see Palhinha with the arrow, the yellow arrow. He gets drawn away. He's marking Gyokeres. And then he thinks, right, no, my manager told me man to man, I've got to get in the face. So he goes to try and press Hincapié, leaves Victor Gyokeres. And of course, there's a big hole for Victor to spin into down the side. It's a nice early pass from Hincapié. And Victor runs on in sort of trademark fashion and cuts inside and shoots. And he's really, really unlucky not to score. So that was a good piece of play where we pull a centre half out of position. And there were numerous really examples of that. I think what happened as well, we instead of playing Timber and Hincapié high as those sort of inside forwards, we dispensed with that in this game, and we allowed the front four to just go and occupy their back five and leave it to them. The two midfielders kind of stayed put. The fullbacks stayed a bit wider. And we said, go and cause chaos amongst yourselves. And I think Trossard, even though he was probably the least effective of our front four, his positioning did make a big difference. I want to show you his chalkboard here. Here you see it. It's look how many touches central he had. He didn't stay out on that left wing. Yeah, loads of touches there, but loads on the inside as well. Getting involved as a support striker, and his presence there, infield, often drew one of the centre backs out of position, and that helped us big time. I've got a great example to show you here actually from the game. You'll remember the chance where Saka gets in, and it's a really good save actually from Vicario. Here's the example. This came from a long David Raya kick to Gyokeres, who sort of held the ball up. 7 passes from Raya to Gyokeres in the game, by the way. Anyway, so the ball falls to Hincapié. And if we look at it, Dragason's with Gyokeres, he's been drawn out to that side. And Trossard there is in a central position. And what that's done, that's brought Palhinha with him. Palhinha can't resist getting involved, getting tight. And Saka sees it, and Saka sees that big space to run into. It's a huge hole, and Hincapié plays a beautiful pass actually, and Saka backs himself against one of the quickest players in the Premier League, gets goal side. He's really unlucky to score, but it's Trossard. If Trossard isn't there, Palhinha doesn't move out of the back line, and that space probably isn't there for Saka to get in. So it's good play from Trossard, and also great awareness from Hincapié and Saka to see where the gap is and to try and exploit it. This is another example I'm going to show you very shortly, where basically the front four occupy the back five, and they because they go tight and man to man, they just got pulled out all over the place, and Papsar often had to play left back because Jed Spence would go as the left wing back to go close to Timber, and that meant will Van der Ven go with Saka or not? Well, in this example here, I'll show you why that always wasn't possible. So here we go. Timber gets it, and you see here Van der Ven has to go with Eza because Eza's come on that side. So Van der Ven this time gets drawn out of the back three. Papsar's covering. He's shifted across from midfield to left back, but he's really uncomfortable. And it's a beautiful triangle, isn't it? It's Timber into Eza. He sees the space, one-touch pass around the corner. Absolutely great football from Arsenal, and we created another chance from that particular situation. So we found it really easy, I must admit, to play through their man-to-man setup, which is early days. It's a work in progress, and they clearly weren't very comfortable with it. I've got another example to show you. You'll have noticed that Raya, I've talked about it, where Raya goes long to Gyokeres. Well, part of that, the reason for that is because if they're going to lock on, by locking on, I mean, the striker will go and press the keeper, and everyone else inside Arsenal's half they'll go tight to them. Okay, and Raya's got it. Well, that means that that they've got to push up to the halfway line. Here's a great example of everyone locked on from a Spurs point of view. They're in the faces of the Arsenal players, but look, they've left themselves 3v3 at the back, and we've deliberately kept our three high: Saka, Gyokeres. I think it's probably Trossard up there as well. We've kept it really. They've kept them high, 3v3, and they're on the halfway line. And Raya's got a great kick on him, and he booms it over the top. Saka gets in behind, and you'll remember because Gyokeres comes out, it then bounces out to Trossard, and Trossard shoots from like 45, 50 yards, and it ended up being cleared off the line. Great awareness, and again, I think that's something that Mikel Arteta and the coaching staff will have talked about prior to the game. They would have said they're going to squeeze up, so that means there'll probably be a little bit of space in behind. And we made, how many times did Saka get in behind in this game? He was back to his best. It was wonderful to see that. But we played with real intelligence, I thought. Spurs didn't, and we punished, the mistakes that they made as well. Let's have a look at the first goal actually, because it came on the back of some real sustained pressure. We were pinning them in all over them. They couldn't get out. And this example really shows you the difference maybe between Arsenal and Spurs at the moment, where you would like to think that Arsenal players will graft and back each other up and track back when they need to. Spurs don't do that. Here is the build-up to the first goal. So Timber slips it down the side to Saka, and once again, because Spencer's got tight to him, it's Pape Sarr that has to come out to Saka in the 1v1. Now, I'm drawing your attention to two players inside the box. Bissouma there, where the red arrow is. He has got to, in my opinion, bust a gut there to get back and make that run where the red arrow is. He has to cover Pape Sarr because he's in trouble against Saka in a 1v1. Also, just outside the D, you'll see Kolomuani, the striker, have to get back and mark Eze. That's just the way they've played. They need him to lend a hand, and he's got Eze there on the edge of the box. What happens, of course, is Saka skips past Sarr, gets to the byline. Bissouma's offered nothing on the cover. Ineffective completely. And he cuts it back, and look where Eze is. Eze's sharper than Kolomuani. He's in front of him, and he gets there. The ball spins up off his leg, of course, and then he volleys it in. It was a more difficult finish, I think, for Eze than it looked. Had to cock his leg pretty high. We got great contact on it, and like the goal I think he scored against Crystal Palace. And it was 1-0, and I love the fact that he was sort of goading the Spurs fans as well. I mean, he was class, wasn't he, Eze? On the day, 5 shots in the match. I think after he scored that first goal, he sort of grew in stature as well. He sort of owned that pitch. It was like, give it to me. Played with the swagger that we want to see from Eze. Played with the drive that we want to see. And I think he's set the bar now. I really do. I think that is the level. Anything, sort of less than that, and I think we have the right to say, come on, we know that you've got it in your locker to drive forward with the ball at your feet, to play with that cockiness, that brashness. He was absolutely terrific. Some fabulous runs, some great pieces of skills. I want to show you actually his chalkboard, because for me it's a perfect number 10's chalkboard. So we got Rice and Zubimendi. They're a classic double pivot in this game, and Eze is your 10. He's not left or right, he's 10. He's a support striker. He's playing up quite close to Gyokeres. Here's his chalkboard now. It is a thing of beauty, because that is exactly where you want your number 10 getting onto the ball. Look at all those touches in the dead zone. That zone that's so often empty for Arsenal because we play the horseshoe of doom. Not in this game. We fed balls into him. He stayed in that position very nicely. And look, he got 5 shots away. He's got so many involvements on the edge of the box. Absolutely outstanding from Eberici Eze. And obviously the big goal really, I think, was at the start of the second half, where it's 1 apiece, even though we should be miles ahead. It's 1 apiece, and you're thinking, right, Arsenal need to step up here, and Gyokeres scores a belter, doesn't he? What a finish that was. But Eze plays his part in the build-up. So I'm going to freeze the frame here so you can have a look at this. There's a lot going on. First of all, Timber plays a brave pass. It's a kind of pass he's been turning down, or Arsenal players in general have been turning down. We'll go back to Saliba, we'll move it. No, he sees the player, he sees a red shirt, and he fizzes it in. It's a quality pass from Jurriën Timber. Then look how narrow Timber, Eze and Gyokeres are, occupying those 3 Spurs defenders, Dragusin and Paulinho in particular. Eze makes a run while the ball's in motion, which drags Dragusin with him. That creates space for Victor Gyokeres, who takes the touch. And look at this. How bad is it from João Paulinho? How terrible is this defending? He doesn't react at all. He's 2 or 3 yards too deep. He's not offering any kind of block there. It's just shocking. I know he's a midfielder playing centre-back, but that is poor. Even so, Gyokeres pings it in. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous finish. And from that moment on, he absolutely swatted Spurs aside. Gyokeres had 42 touches in this game. There's been lots of occasions this season where people have looked at his low touch count and been critical. 42 is high. He made 27 passes. Very, very high. And he had 4 shots as well. So for me, Victor Gyokeres was excellent in the game. He was always an outlet. Give it to me. He stayed in the central positions. He always wanted to sort of be a platform for the team. Yeah, he got knocked over a lot by Dragusin in the first half. He's probably looking for the free kicks. That's the only thing I can criticise him for. But he had a header cleared off the line. He had that great shot I showed you earlier. He scores twice in the second half. His general link play was fantastic. Big part, of course, in Eze's second goal. For me, it comfortably his best performance in an Arsenal shirt. See the way that he held off Archie Gray for that late goal. The 4th goal was brilliant, really strong, and whips it far corner. A terrific performance. And look, in 2026, he has scored more goals in all competitions than any other Premier League player. 8 of his 15 goals for the season have come in 2026. So he is flying right now. And also, by the way, he's now got 15, as I said. That's the most by an Arsenal player in their debut season since Alexander Lacazette in 2017-18. He ended up with 17. And I'd like to think that Victor Gyokeres is going to end up with more than 17. I think he's well on course to breach the 20 goal mark, isn't he? Here's his chalkboard, by the way, just to outline the point that I was making about how much of a platform he laid. Here it is. Look at that. Central. Give it to me. I'll look after it. He never hid. He didn't hide from minute 1 to minute 90. And he got in the box and he caused havoc. And he was always looking to cause damage. Brilliant performance, I think, from Victor Gyokeres. Now, when we look back at the game, everyone will say, oh, what an amazing second half it was. And it was. But I don't think we should dismiss the first half. I think we got on the front foot. We were assertive. We imposed ourselves straight away on the game and pushed Spurs back. And really, apart from that goal, and we'll get to that in a second, they did literally nothing. And I mean nothing. Here is their pass map from the first half. This is the Tottenham Hotspur pass map. They're kicking from left to right. Have a look at this. One touch inside our box in the first half. One touch. We had 28 touches in their box in the first half. They had 1. It's just quite remarkable. And look at that. Look at our left back. So Gabriel and Hincapié talk about locking down one side of the pitch. Literally nothing happens for Spurs to the right of centre inside our half in that first half. And, let's remember the stadium announcer, I think, said ahead of kickoff, sometimes there's a fire to be lit, he said. They're nervous as hell. We're calm. We're ready. Look, we were the calm ones in that first half. They were nervous and they really didn't offer anything in terms of a threat. In terms of the touches inside the opposition box, by the way, it ended 46-7. So we didn't have as many touches in their box in the second half, surprisingly maybe to some. They had 6 in the second half, which is still not a lot, is it? It was domination, and 4-1 for me flatters Spurs. I even though they had 1 or 2 scares, with the Raya save and the sort of disallowed goal. For me, this was more of a 5-1 or a 6-1 type win for Arsenal. The reason they got 1 was down to another individual error. They have crept in recent weeks, and of all people, it's Declan Rice. You just don't expect it, do you? But we're all human, and he's not immune to the odd individual error. It was just so surprising to see it, wasn't it? But he will learn from it, and I thought his performance after making the error was exemplary. He led by example. There was one moment he gets back on the halfway line to win the ball quite magnificently. He won possession for the team 9 times. It was a good performance, but he did make a mistake, and I want to just go over it quickly. Here you go. He tidies up, doesn't he, defensively? He sweeps round to tidy up. He takes the ball to the position where we see it. And clearly in the red arrow, he's got 4 options for me. He can turn back and go to David Raya. Not a problem there. He can hoof it up towards the halfway line. He can boot it out of play towards where Mikel Arteta is, or he can play that little short pass to Jurrien Timber. What he mustn't do is do what he did and hesitate and take an extra touch, and then he's got to try and dribble his way out of trouble. And Colin Morani obviously robs him and finishes very, very well. So, a collector's item there for Declan Rice, but his response to it was excellent. It was as you would expect it to be. So look, there's so much I could have gone through here, but so we haven't got time, unfortunately. But hopefully that's covered most of the main aspects. I've got one or two more things to say in player ratings, of course, and we'll start with David Raya. It's an 8 for sure for David Raya. I thought he was outstanding. He could be a 9, really. Very confident, coming out to claim the crosses. His distribution was brilliant. And he made probably one of the saves of the season. That little back flick from Richarlison, it goes through his legs. And look at the way he responds. Here's the steal. It's amazing, isn't it? He's at full stretch. There's no one better, is there, than David Raya at sort of reacting to situations like that. It's not the first time we've seen him claw a shot away from the goal line. So well played, David Raya. You need your keeper in these big games to step up, and he did. And after that drop at Molineux, it was really, really important that he did. Jurrien Timber, I think I'm going to go 7. I think he was really good. Got tired, created three chances, including that assist, that great pass. I thought he linked lovely with Saka throughout the game. He could easily be an 8, but I'm 7's good. So yeah, I don't need to justify it anymore. I thought he had a good game. Same for Saliba. Fairly effortless from him. Wasn't really involved in any major incidents. It's a smooth 7 for Big Willie. For Gabriel Magalhaes, I will go an 8 for him, even though I didn't like... Obviously, I think it was a foul. The two hands were on the back from Colin Morani. It wasn't a hard push, we know that. But when you're just about to start your jump and you feel that in the small of your back, I do think that, it can knock you off balance. I think it's a habit that we want to see Gabriel Magalhaes stop. I think we saw it at Brentford a bit, at Sunderland as well, where he feels something in the box and goes down. He won't always get the decisions. He got it on this occasion, rightly so in my view, but it's a risk. That aside, if we can park that, I thought he was great. He actually won 10 out of 10 duels on the ground, and he won 4 out of 4 aerial duels, and he led from the front. He showed good leadership. And so for that reason, he's an 8. Nketiah is also an 8. I think he's growing, isn't he, as an Arsenal player at left back. He's in the team on merit at the moment ahead of Calafiori. 3 key passes. Some of his distribution was quality. He won 5 of his 7 tackles as well. Nketiah, really determined. I think he embodies the sort of spirit of the team. So yeah, he's locked in now as is in our best 11 for the time being. It could change between now and the end of the season, of course. But for me, he deserves to be in. On merit, in midfield, Zubimendi did a lot of tireless work. He ran further than any other Arsenal player. Quite a bit further, actually, than any Arsenal player. Just under 12 kilometres he ran. A lot of unsung work. Kept diligent. Didn't leave spaces for Tottenham Hotspur. It was kind of a selfless performance from Zubimendi, in my opinion. Rice probably would be an 8, but he's downgraded to a 7 because of that mistake. As I said, he won the ball back for fun and was really good in terms of the drive and the tempo that he set. What we got Saka. I mean, Saka, I think it's a 9 for Saka. It has to be a 9. It was great to see him back to his best. He absolutely tormented Spurs from minute 1, and I think his influence rubbed off on the team. He had 18 touches in the Spurs box. To put that into perspective, Gyokeres and Trossard were next on 7 apiece. So, really, really good. I can actually show you his chalkboard here from the game. I mean, look at the positions he gets into. He has 5 shots, but gets the ball in that final third all the time. He's always looking to run it in behind as well. Phenomenal from Saka. Remember, it was only a week ago at Brentford? He looked sort of out of sorts. He didn't look right after he come back from injury. Well, he looked back to his imperious best. I think he frightened the life out of Spurs in this game. It's a definite 9 for him. I'm going to go with Trossard on the other side, 7. Good game. Had a few shots. Was unlucky not to score in the first half. I like the positions he took up, but he wasn't as impactful as the other forwards. Eza is 9, and he's unlucky not to get star man. Yeah, it's just a virtuoso display from Eberici, as we talked about him. And Gyokeres is also a 9, but he gets my main man. He's the star of the show. His best performance in Arsenal shirt. Looked like a proper centre forward here. Now he will come up against better defenders. Dragusin and Palhinha were 1, 2, 3 out of 10 at best. I mean, Palhinha was so bad, but Dragusin wasn't good either. So he was lucky that he was up against garbage really on the day, but I think it will give him a lot of belief. And those 2 finishes were class. They were whipped finishes. And look, as I said, he's the most informed striker in the Premier League in 2026. The noise has quietened down, and rightly so. And for those of you that aren't sold on him, that's fine. You don't have to be sold on him. I kind of agree that he maybe he isn't as technically good as our other players. Doesn't look a natural fit, and he hasn't been brilliant all season. There's no argument from me on that. But let's stick with him. He's an Arsenal man, and he is warming to the task, and he's come up with some good moments for us. And he's getting better and better. So let's give Victor Gyokeres all the support that we can. He is our best striker. Certainly, if you don't class Kai Havertz as a striker, he's up there. And look, Kai Havertz, when he is fit, wouldn't get in the team after that Gyokeres performance, would he? Wouldn't come in for him, that's for sure. So there's going to be a good duel between those two when Kai is fit and available. As for the subs, well, Mosquera was unreal, I thought, when he came on. It's a definite 8 for him. He wins 4 out of 4 of his tackles. Wins one. One of them was really high up the pitch that created a chance with Saka and Eza 1-2. He was superb, and he's a big option for us at right back now on the back of that cameo. Madueke, Odegaard and Martinelli weren't on for long. I'm going to give everyone a 7 for their part, and obviously Madueke and Odegaard played a part in that last goal as well, didn't they? As for the gaffer, it's a 9. It has to be a 9 out of 10. Probably, one of the highest marks I've given him all season. Tactically, he got it right. He played the shape with the right back and left back in more orthodox positions. He left it to the front 4 to go and take it to Spurs back 5 and to destroy them. He didn't want to clog up the space. He talked about the high line. He found ways to manoeuvre the ball past the man-to-man press. Tactically, he nailed it. Igor Tudor had a stinker. There's no doubt about that. It's almost as if he didn't watch. I'm presuming a manager coming in would watch the previous North London derby. I don't reckon he did, because they kind of played it a very similar way. They played with a back 5 that day, but it was not dissimilar to the performance at Emirates Stadium. That day, Frank changed it at half-time. Here, Tudor didn't, and his players looked all at sea. They really did. But a lot of that was down to the organisation, the game plan from Arteta, and the way that the guys were motivated. And it was great to see that motivation, wasn't it? On the back of that Wolves debacle, really, in the second half, this was much more like it. And this is the level that Arsenal have to play at between now and the end of the season. And if we do play at that level, it's going to take a very good effort for Manchester City to finish above us, let me tell you. So, yeah, a great day for the Arsenal. I absolutely loved it. I'm sure that Gooners the world over loved it as much as I did as well. It was a real treat. 8-2 in the North London derby across the 2 matches this season, with Eza getting 5 of them. He's the second player in history to do that. Ted Drake, back in the olden days, he's the only other player to score 5 goals against Spurs in North London derbies in a single season. It is remarkable. Can we play you every week? That would be what Eza says. Right, that's all from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as me. It's been a real treat to look back on the game, to revel in the glory of North London being red once more. Damaging defeat for Spurs, but for us, absolutely imperative that we won. And the fact that we won well with a fantastic performance sets us up brilliantly for Chelsea, of course, next weekend. We've got a full week off to rest and recuperate. Cannot wait for that game now. For now, though, it is bye from me. I'll see you soon.